All right, what's going on YouTube? This is BoxingWave. First off, I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. For the people that celebrate Christmas, hope everybody had a great Christmas yesterday, and wish you happy holidays. All right, whatever it is that you celebrate every year, and just want to get that out of the way. Now, I finally got around to seeing the Chisora and Whyte rematch. Okay, it's on the Showtime Anytime app, so I watched it on there on my TV. And listen, I actually enjoyed this second fight more than the first fight. The first fight was more. I would probably say that the first fight was more of a war. It was probably more action involved because there was no defense and anything like that. It was more just a slugfest. Okay, I enjoyed this fight more because it was more strategic, especially with Dillian Whyte. He used a lot more strategy trying to win this fight, using more boxing technique. He changed up a lot in this fight. Derek Chisora, in my opinion, based on what I saw, it seemed like Chisora was just in better shape for this fight. It seemed like he wanted to fight for longer stretches between each round, instead of just picking certain points of periods in a round to take over and then back up and just wait. The first fight I seen, like maybe, whenever I did the prediction video, I seen the first fight and I watched it again, and from what I got from it, Chisora to me landed the more meaningful shots. Dillian Whyte threw more, but Chisora was knocking Dillian Whyte's head all over the place. Okay, I personally think Chisora edged the first fight, even though they gave it to Dillian Whyte. But in this fight, it seemed like the roles were reversed because Dillian Whyte fought a completely different fight, and even though Chisora fought longer and harder this time around, Dillian Whyte boxing was better to me, in my opinion. All right. One thing that I said in the prediction video is that I think Dillian Whyte needs to throw more straight shots, throw more straight right hands, and make a better use of his jab. I liked his movement, the lateral movement that he gave us. I like the fact that he didn't keep himself on the ropes too long. I like the uppercuts that he was using when they were in close range, close to each other while he was on the ropes. I liked his head control when he was using his gloves to, move around Derek Chisora and his forearms, even though that's technically illegal. But it just seemed like he used a lot more tactics in this fight this time around. I know two of the judges had Chisora up on the cards in this fight. I mean, boxing is completely subjective, and even though I was more impressed with what Dillian Whyte was doing in this fight, I think with the way he was fighting and the fact that Chisora got deducted 2 points from the elbow and the low blows, I think I would have scored the fight for Dillian Whyte. I had him up barely, but I would have scored the fight for Dillian Whyte, even if there was no knockout. Okay, that's just my opinion. So anyway, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the fight more. One key thing that I saw Chisora do in this fight, he came out pretty jumpy right away, going to the body, being the aggressor, and that's cool. One thing though is Chisora threw a lot of combinations to the body. Now, you guys that actually box and know a lot about like boxing and really being in there. One thing that I noticed in the ring, I've been watching Dillian fight for so long, but one thing that I noticed is that since he was covering up a lot because Chisora was going to his body, I noticed that his elbows, like when he's covering up like this, even when his forearms completely covering his face, his elbows go way past his waist. So if you watch the fight again, just check it out. Dillian Whyte's elbows goes way below his waist. So it's actually harder to land clean with body shots unless you're throwing them behind Dillian Whyte's arms, which is like he covers up extremely well. And I really believe that a lot of those body shots from those combos didn't land. You know, that's just one thing that I observed throughout. I might have noticed it maybe halfway through the rounds when they started to slow, halfway through the fight when they started to slow down. But I think a lot of those body shots weren't landing, and that's why I just couldn't give Chisora, even though he was being aggressive. I don't think it was as nearly as effective as it was in the first fight because Dillian Whyte was just leaving himself completely open to get countered in the first fight. Whereas this time around, Dillian Whyte was the one that was doing the counter punching and stuff. You know, the jabs, countering with straight right hands, hurting Chisora at times. You know, and Dillian Whyte wasn't falling for the possum. Chisora was doing that in the first fight. Like he would back himself up to against the ropes or in the corners, and Dillian Whyte would follow him, and Chisora would just be setting him up to land a big shot, you know, and start working him with combinations. Dillian Whyte, every time he hit Chisora with a clean shot that bothered Chisora, he wouldn't follow him. He would stay in the center of the ring. He wouldn't follow it up with anything. He wasn't really going for the knockout. He was boxing. And when the knockout came with that left hook, which was a great left hook, I mean, he even took a hook himself when he landed that hook. That was just a great shot, you know, and that's his signature punch. And Chisora was out of there. And that's what I mean as far as boxers need. These boxers that have power. It's one thing to have power, but you can't fall in love with it to a point where we saw that recently with the whole thing with Jermell Charlo fighting Tony Harrison. We saw it recently with Wilder and Fury. If you have boxing ability, use it. The power will show up at some point, but you have to win on points as well. So I think it was I think Dillian Whyte has really improved since his first loss to Joshua. He's really improved as a boxer. He's been picking up some major wins, beating Joseph Parker and dropping him twice in that fight, beating Chisora in the first fight. And, you know, he's just been on a good roll since then. You know, some fights he didn't look too impressive, but he still got the W. He's been collecting the W, and he definitely earned his shot at a title fight. I mean, he's been earned it, but he definitely deserves a fight soon, you know, if not the very next fight, which is probably going to happen. Now, let's get right into that before I end this video. I think Anthony Joshua is going to probably end up fighting Derek Chisora next. I'm sorry, Anthony Joshua is going to be fighting Dillian Whyte next. Because I don't believe Wilder is going to fight Joshua. I mean, based on what he's saying in the interviews, he doesn't seem interested in the Joshua fight. There's been a lot of interviews that's been coming out lately, and I just don't see Wilder having interest in fighting Joshua right now. I don't even think the fight is going to happen in 2020. I think Wilder is going to fight Fury, and if he wins, he's going to be fighting Dominic Brazil because he has to defend that WBC title at some point. And I think they're going to enforce it after the Tyson Fury stuff is over, if he does win in the rematch. I'll say, you know, if Joshua continues to win and remains undefeated, that fight will not happen until 2020 at some time. I think Wilder is going to fight Joshua dead last now, okay? And that's just my, you know, just based on the way that he's been giving interviews. That's just the way I see it. All right. But I think if that fight happens between Wilder and Fury, Dillian Whyte should definitely be getting a rematch with Anthony Joshua. They both improved since their first fight, and it should be a great rematch. And I'll be there in April if it does happen. All right. So, you know, all that post-fight stuff, I thought it was fair. You know, Dillian doesn't want, you know, I feel Dillian, he doesn't want to be waiting on anyone, but at the end of the day, the Deontay Wilder fight is just the bigger fight, you know, and it's the more meaningful fight for Anthony Joshua if he wants to become undisputed. So I get it. All right. So that's it. I'm gonna still do a video on Warrington against Frampton. I'm like halfway through the fight right now. So I'll do a video on that, and I'll speak more on the Jamal Charlo stuff too. I want to do a follow-up video on that. And I'll see you guys on the next video, all right? Peace.